WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Vielleicht nur als 5%.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Jyotsna Kumar and this is World DNA. Let's begin with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads 12th International Yoga Day celebrations in Kolkata, joining the participants in celebrating the global event centered on wellness and healthy living. NEET UG re-examination today. Over 22 lakh candidates set to appear across around 5,400 examination centers. The authorities step up security arrangements to ensure the fair conduct of the exam.
Fundamentally, the goal is to make the whole region safe and secure.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance expresses optimism that American and Iranian negotiators will make progress on talks over Tehran's nuclear program and possible ceasefire in Lebanon as he departs for Switzerland for talks. Israel's bombardment of Lebanon continues. Lebanese health authorities say fresh attacks in the south and east of the country have killed 7 people, including a woman and a child. Toll since March tops 4,000. Israeli military confirms killing of Al Jazeera journalist Ahmed Wisha in a strike in Gaza, labels him a Hamas operative without presenting evidence. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky confirms drone attack on a Russian oil refining facility in the Tyumen region. Says Kiev's Western partners have agreed on new measures to ramp up pressure on Moscow. Bolivia's government accuses former President Evo Morales of fomenting crippling protests, says he will face the law. Australia will extend fuel tax relief through July as concerns continue over West Asia-related oil supply disruptions. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the move will help ease cost of living pressures for motorists across the country. Germany reached World Cup knockout phase for the first time since 2014 with a dramatic come-from-behind 2-1 victory over Ivory Coast. A new round of negotiations over the West Asia war is set to kick off, with Iranian negotiators who arrive in Zurich and the U.S. Vice President on the way. And this comes as Tehran said it was closing the Strait of Hormuz again over Israeli attacks in Lebanon. And before boarding his flight to Europe, Vance said he hopes to make progress on the nuclear issue and the Lebanon ceasefire issue.
Looking forward to starting the second talks with the Iranians, the Pakistanis, and the Qataris. Our understanding is that the Iranians just landed. The Qataris, the Pakistanis, and some of our secular negotiators are on the ground. So look, we'll have a couple days to talk. We're going to get this thing kicks off in the right way. There's a lot to discuss, but we're going to go through it all.
The Iranian negotiating team includes Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bagher said the delegation would demand implementation of other parties' commitments under the deal.
Well, the commitments are very clear. Clause 1 of the Memorandum of Understanding is the most important part of the parties' mutual commitments, namely ending the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon. We have adhered to our commitments. The other side was obliged to compel those under its influence, specifically the Zionist regime, to cease fire in Lebanon. In this regard, we have seen that they have failed to fulfill their obligations, and this constitutes a clear violation of the ceasefire understanding.
At the same time, mediator Pakistan said that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Munir left for Switzerland to participate in the talks on implementation of MOU. Pakistan's Foreign Ministry said that it will continue to support the implementation of the understandings between Iran and the United States. Meanwhile, Iran's top Joint Military Command said that the Strait of Hormuz would be closed to vessel traffic, citing alleged violation of a ceasefire agreement by the U.S. and Israel. The IRGC warned ships not to approach the waterway, a vital conduit for global oil and gas supplies. The statement added that the closure was the first step in response to what it called violations of commitments, warning that further measures would follow if aggression continued. Opening the Strait of Hormuz was one of the points of the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the U.S. and Iran. Iranian forces say the decision to shut the strait was taken in response to Israel's attacks on southern Lebanon, which they describe as a breach of Tehran's agreement with Washington. Before the announced closure of Hormuz, maritime trackers reported that shipping traffic through the strait had reached its busiest level in 2 months. U.S. President Donald Trump and the U.S. military have, however, denied Iran's claims that it had closed the Strait of Hormuz, saying the critical waterway remained open and the U.S. forces were monitoring the situation to ensure that it continued. In a Truth Social post, Trump said that there will be no tolls in the Hormuz Strait for 60 days during the ceasefire period, and there will be no tolls after the 60-day period has expired unless they are imposed by and for the U.S. On the other hand, Lebanon's health ministry said late on Saturday that fresh Israeli strikes in the south and east of the country had killed 7 people. 5 people, including a woman and child, were killed in the east of the country, and 2 Palestinians were killed in the southern Tyre region. An Israeli army official said on Saturday that the military had received orders from the country's political leadership to halt fighting in southern Lebanon. The announcement came amid intense clashes between Israeli forces and Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon, with both sides accusing the other of breaching the U.S. renewed ceasefire. Now, the Russia-Ukraine war is entering a dangerous new phase. Missiles are flying, battle lines are shifting, and the world's biggest military alliance is being warned of a nuclear nightmare. Now, Moscow has issued its strongest warning yet, raising fears of a direct clash between Russia and NATO. Here's a report on it. Take a look.
A shadow is spreading across the battlefield, not just from the explosions lighting up Ukrainian cities, but from the words coming out of Moscow. As Russia and Ukraine continue their brutal war, every strike carries a bigger risk. Every military move is being watched, and every warning from the Kremlin is being measured for its global impact. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has issued a stark warning to NATO, saying a direct confrontation between Russia and the alliance could push the world towards a nuclear crisis. Russian Foreign Minister stressed that Europe's course towards confrontation with Russia and further expansion poses serious threats to global security and warns of the possibility of catastrophic consequences in the event of a direct clash between NATO and Russia. The warning comes as fighting intensifies across the front lines. Russia has continued its attacks on Ukrainian positions, with strikes across cities including Kharkiv and Dnipro. The Russian Defense Ministry has released images showing what it claims are massive bomb strikes hitting Ukrainian military sites. Moscow says these operations are targeting Ukraine's military infrastructure. Kyiv says Russia's attacks continue to damage civilian areas and critical facilities. At the same time, Ukraine has stepped up long-range attacks, including strikes targeting Russian territory and energy facilities, increasing pressure on the Kremlin. Across Europe, fears are rising as NATO countries strengthen their defense posture. Military exercises, weapons deployments, and discussions over future security commitments have intensified as the war shows no sign of ending. Earlier, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has repeatedly spoken about the possibility of nuclear escalation, warning that a confrontation between Russia and the West could have devastating consequences. Now, Lavrov's message adds another layer of tension. With drones in the skies, missiles crossing borders, and armies preparing for the next battlefield move, the Russia-Ukraine war continues to test the limits of global security. Bureau Report, WION The World is one.
A Spanish judge has ordered Bequeno Gomez, the wife of Spanish PM and Socialist Party leader Pedro Sanchez, to stand trial by jury for corruption and influence peddling. The ruling marks a major development in a case that has been under investigation for nearly 2 years and has intensified political tensions in Spain. Gomez is a former director of the Master's Program in Competitive Social Transformation at Complutense University of Madrid. She is accused of using her position as a prime minister's wife to influence the awarding of government contracts to certain technology companies. The investigation also alleges that she misused public funds in the hiring of a consultant and improperly used software while working as a professor at a public university. Judge Juan Carlos Pianado ruled that Gomez must surrender her passport, report to court every 2 weeks, and is not allowed to leave Spain. The judge said there was a risk that she could flee the country while awaiting trial. Gomez, who has avoided to make a public statement, has stated that she is innocent and denied any wrongdoings. Well, as of yet, a trial date has not been finalized, and she will have to appear before a court every 2 weeks until the jury is scheduled. PM Pedro Sanchez, addressing the matter at a public forum earlier, had asked for the justice system to render justice.
As I have always said, I will say always, I only ask that the justice system render justice. I am convinced that in time, everything and everyone is going to be put in its place. I have nothing more to say.
While Socialist Party leaders have criticized the ruling for being exaggerated, opposition leaders have called for the Prime Minister to take a moral responsibility and step down from his duties until the trial is concluded. Now, the FIFA World Cup is bringing thousands of international fans to Toronto, giving a major boost to local businesses, pubs, and the hospitality sector. But for many German supporters, the excitement of following their team has come with a dose of inflation shock. Now, here's a look at how football fever is translating into spending and what it means for the local economies in this next report. Take a look.
Thousands of football fans are descending on Toronto. Many German supporters arrived from Houston on Friday, heading straight from airports and tourist attractions to downtown fan zones and pubs. While the atmosphere remains festive, one issue has quickly become a talking point among visiting fans: the cost of food, drinks and matchday entertainment in Canada. German supporters say that beer prices in Toronto are significantly higher than back home.
The beer prices as in Canada and in the US are much more expensive than in Germany. In Germany, we pay about $6 to $7 a beer, and here it's about 10 to 14. In the stadium, it's 17. That's ridiculous. You have to make it much more cheaper because beer is essential for life.
The complaints go beyond beer. Fans say the overall cost of attending the World Cup has risen sharply, with ticket prices emerging as another major concern. Some supporters reported paying as much as 1,000 Canadian dollars for a single match ticket.
I think when you're traveling for a World Cup, it's to be expected that prices will be elevated. Ticket prices are insane. Here in the city, the ticket prices have been crazy. I myself paid $1,000 for my ticket. I think that's really the only thing that I've heard people complain about are the ticket prices, just because of the resale and people kind of taking advantage of it.
Canada's relatively high food inflation and the added costs of sales tax and tipping are also contributing to the higher bill for visitors. In Toronto, restaurants and bar patrons typically pay a 13% sales tax, while tips of 12 to 14% are widely expected. Even so, many traveling supporters say they anticipated paying a premium for a World Cup experience and remain upbeat about the tournament. For Toronto's hospitality sector, however, the influx of international fans represents a significant business opportunity. Bars and pubs across the city are preparing for a surge in demand ahead of Germany's match.
We poured a lot of German beer on the first game. I think we went through 10 kegs of beer in between Hellslager and wheat beer, as well as Radler. So we're expecting to go through about the same. We don't think that we're going to run out of beer in any way, shape, or form, but you never know. You never know, right? So we have as much as we can store.
FIFA World Cup is the biggest example of how major sporting events can drive consumer spending, even as visitors grapple with higher costs. Business Bureau, WION World is One.
And Germany are through to the World Cup knockout stage for the first time since lifting the trophy in 2014. A dramatic late comeback against Ivory Coast in Toronto secured a 2-1 victory and ended years of group stage frustration for the four-time world champions. Germany booked their place in the World Cup last 32 with a dramatic 2-1 comeback victory over Ivory Coast in front of a crowd of more than 43,000 fans in Toronto. The Germans, who had failed to progress beyond the group stage at the last two World Cups, look set for another frustrating night after Ivory Coast took the lead in the 30th minute. Franck Kessié finished from close range following impressive work by highly rated teenager Yaya Diomande, giving the Ivorians a deserved advantage. Germany thought they had equalized twice before halftime, but both goals were ruled out. Alexander Pavlovich had a goal disallowed for a foul on goalkeeper Yaya Fofana, while Kai Havertz also saw his effort chalked off after a foul in the build-up, trailing at the break. Germany came out with renewed intensity and piled pressure on the Ivorian defense. Their persistence finally paid off in the 68th minute, when substitute Denis Undaf volleyed home across from Nadim Amidi to level the scores. With the match heading towards a draw, Undaf struck again deep into stoppage time, finishing from Felix Nmecha in assist to spark wild celebrations among German players and supporters. Dramatic winner secured Germany's passage to the knockout rounds, and for Ivory Coast, hopes of reaching the knockout stage remain alive despite the defeat. The Ivorians can still advance with a victory over World Cup debutants Curaçao in their final group stage match. Now, Dallas is embracing World Cup fever with a giant new mural honoring Argentine football legend Messi as the city prepares to host World Cup matches. The striking tribute has quickly become the landmark for fans, adding to the excitement building across Dallas ahead of global tournament. Here is a report on it. On the occasion of Father's Day, let's give you a list of movies that celebrate the moving bond between a father and a child. From animated oceans to gritty wrestling pits, let's take a look at some of these spectacular movies to watch today. First on the list are The Pursuit of Happiness, based on the true story of Chris Gardner. The biographical drama stars Will Smith alongside his real-life son, Jaden Smith. The film tracks a homeless salesman's brutal, exhausting struggle to secure a better future for his child, while enduring a grueling unpaid internship. Then comes The Lion King, which is one of cinema's most foundational father-son narratives. The relationship between Mufasa and Simba explores mentorship, devastating loss, and the heavy mantle of parental legacy. Now, even the sequel, which included a voice cast of Beyoncé and oldest daughter Ivy Carter, continues to remain the legendary tale of how a father struggled to provide the best for his family. And Finding Nemo, Pixar turned the vast, terrifying ocean into a metaphor for parental anxiety, where his only son gets captured. Merlin, who is a hyper-protective clownfish, conquers his deepest fears and crosses the reef to rescue Nemo. It is a vibrant, funny, and deeply emotional tribute to the relentless, unconditional love of a father who refuses to give up. Well, coming to Bollywood, when it comes to showing a father-daughter relationship, nothing beats Dangal. This biographical sports drama stars Aamir Khan as Mahavir Singh Phogat, a former wrestler who defies rigid societal norms to train his daughters Geeta and Babita into world-class champions. Dangal remains one of the highest-grossing Indian cinema. Gadar 2, a massive blockbuster of 2023, sees Sunny Deol return as the iconic Tara Singh decades after his original cross-border rescue mission. Tara puts his life on the line once more, this time crossing back into Pakistan during a period of intense geopolitical turmoil to save his captured son, Charanjit. The film celebrates the raw, explosive, and larger-than-life protective instinct of a father. All right, that's all on World DNA. Before we let you go, just a reminder to our viewers in India that you can watch all 2026 FIFA World Cup matches on Z5. Tune in and catch all the action.
As South Korea's entertainment industry witnesses a massive boom, we look at how webtoons continue to inspire shows and films. Know all about the actors who have made controversial exits from films. And meet the team of Rock as they discuss the brutal 1978 kidnapping and murder case. All this and much more with me, Rhythm Sharma, on WION E-Club at these times.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
Vielleicht nur als Imposant.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness. In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is one.
AI that can read your mind, translate your thoughts. A brain implant helping an ALS patient talk again. Robotic wearables getting people on their feet and walk, exoskeletons mimicking hands. Would you teach AI to do your job by recording your daily routine? What we use AI for is up to us. The technology isn't prejudiced. Catch all these stories and more this week on Take It Out at these times.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. Around 169 buildings have been totally reduced to rubble. Every time there's a warning, they just come to this public area where there are around 200 tents and they reside for a while and then they go back to their home. Some of the Lebanese people enjoying their time, celebrating, singing, dancing, and some others forcibly displaced. From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION World is One.
In this rapidly changing world,